It's Wednesday, August 18th, and the time for your Barbados Today morning news update. The Barbados Union of Teachers on Tuesday scored a significant victory in the High Court on the issue of paid terms leave. In a judgment handed down by Justice Shauna Griffith, the court upheld the BUT's right to be properly consulted about fundamental changes to terms and conditions of members' employment. The court also upheld the ministry's right to make the change, but tossed out the decision because it was made unilaterally. Our Karim Smith has a full report.
The trade union is preparing to engage the ministry on the matter that initially arose under then Minister of Education, Ronald Jones. In 2016, teachers were stripped of their entitlement to leave with full pay after 15 years and after that, once every 5 years until retirement. Without consulting the teachers or their representatives, the government of the day determined that teachers would receive terms leave only once after 15 years and again once prior to retirement. Attorneys at law Gregory Nichols and Jariah Rock, who were representing 9 claimants, including BUT President Pedro Shepherd, argued the ministry's action was unlawful on the ground that it was a significant change to the general orders that have been existing from time immemorial and set out in Section 33 of the Public Service Act. As part of the judicial review claim, they also contended that local educators and their representatives had a legitimate expectation of consultation with their employer regarding fundamental changes to the terms of their employment. In an extensive judgment, Madam Justice Griffith ruled in favor of the ministry's right to make the change without a statutory instrument, as the general order in question was based on an administrative policy as opposed to an act of parliament. The court, however, declared that the manner in which the changes were made was unlawful and that the ministry had a duty to consult with teachers before making the fundamental change. When contacted, attorney Gregory Nichols had this to say.
And it also affirms that government cannot unilaterally alter the terms and conditions of public officers, particularly teachers, in a unilateral way or any consultation. That was, I don't want to call it a major victory, but that was certainly a major part of the case that my clients brought before the court.
Meanwhile, BUT President Pedro Shepherd said he was satisfied with the decision of the court and would be seeking the much-needed consultation on terms leave with the Ministry of Education. Kareem Smith for Barbados Today.
Long-serving educator Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw has been appointed Barbados's new Chief Education Officer. Her 3-year contract begins today, according to a statement issued by the Barbados Government Information Service. Dr. Archer Bradshaw, who has over 20 years of teaching experience, holds a doctorate of philosophy in education with high commendation from the University of the West Indies and is the recipient of a postgraduate diploma in public sector management with distinction. She was also the most outstanding student overall on completion of her postgraduate diploma in education with a double distinction at the Urdiston Teachers Training College. A top regional health official is alarmed about what she said are concerted efforts by some in the Caribbean to dissuade people from taking the COVID-19 vaccine. Executive Director of the Caribbean Public Health Agency, Dr. Joy St. John, also complained that misinformation was a significant contributor to the existing vaccine hesitancy in the region.
We have been plagued with the infodemic. It's an avalanche. And it's not just the fact that the science is changing and there's new correct information all the time. There has been a concerted effort to confuse people with fake news, downright misinformation. Almost every day I get sent things. And I have to hold my tongue to tell the person who sent it to me, stop telling me those foolish things. But all of this has contributed to vaccine hesitancy, a serious issue in the Caribbean. We are lucky that we have been receiving vaccines, but for those countries that have vaccines, there's a serious concern about vaccine hesitancy. to the point where CAFA has done research, which it will launch in about 2 weeks, about what this misinformation has done for people when they make their decision about vaccination. We know that there is considerable confusion, not just because people have their own thoughts, but there is a concerted campaign to discourage people from being vaccinated and to encourage them to stop, for example, their elderly parents. I know of people who had to hide to go to get their vaccine because they did not want any noise in the house.
The Democratic Labour Party experienced a steady increase in membership ahead of its annual General Conference, which begins today. General Secretary Damien Griffith revealed that the party's roll, which currently stands around 10,000, was strengthened with close to 400 new members in the last 12 months. He said that the conference appeared to be attracting interest from members who were previously less engaged.
I don't think there's a drastic increase in members. We have consistently been getting about 200 new members a year, and we're still in that bracket. We're in the bracket where we consistently get. There is a lot of energy around this annual conference. You can see it in I wouldn't judge it by the new membership, but the return of people who would have otherwise been less engaged. So you can see members, and that for me has been the highlight of the year. The Democratic Labour Party's base is back. It is ready and willing to hit the ground on behalf of its party and its candidates. They want to see the best outcomes for Barbados, and we believe, as always, that the best way to make Barbados better is to have Democratic Labour Party leadership. So back to your question about the membership. Yes, we have new members coming in, but that new membership tends to come in peaks around conference seasons especially. I think we would have reported in the period without the conference, I think we reported in January that since July last year we had 189 new members. So it's about, my estimation, about 200 a year might be a little bit under. It may be more like 300 new members a year, but we continuously get new members, and this is just part of the process.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, Guyana police seized nearly 5 kilograms of cocaine contained in milk packets destined for Barbados. 2 people have been arrested. More from News Source Guyana.
Let's tell you now that a Burmese woman who was getting ready to board a flight to Barbados with over 10 pounds of cocaine stashed in fern-leaf milk packets is now in police custody, with no takeoff being planned. The 34-year-old self-employed woman of New Street, Cumberland, Canterbury's was preparing to board a Caribbean Airlines flight.
And finally, on the international scene, federal investigators in the U.S. are cracking down on fake COVID-19 vaccine cards. More from CBS News.
Arrests connected to fake vaccination cards are on the rise. In California, this man was taken into custody after allegedly selling fakes in his bar. And many look like the real thing. The one on the right here is fake. The FBI told us that it is cracking down.
It's about criminal activity that could possibly hurt someone else. You know you didn't get the shot. You shouldn't be carrying around the card.
The market for fake cards, which sell for as much as $1,500, is growing as more businesses and institutions require proof that you are vaccinated. 3,000 fakes from China were seized in Tennessee in the last several months. On the encrypted app Telegram, there are currently 2,500 active sellers around the world.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.